Hello, 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 everyone, and good morning, and welcome to Wow Wednesday. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network, and we have been bringing you this midweek boost of motivation, education, and inspiration since 2009. We actually started Women's Prosperity Network in 2008, and somewhere in that first year, this idea came about. How about we do this, Wednesday call and inspire people to move forward and give them great resources and tools and education so that they're always living their visions, building their businesses, and enjoying their best life. So we thank you for tuning in, whether it's your first time or perhaps you've been with us for these past 15 years. It's all absolutely perfect. And especially today, where we have Dotty Scott, who is going to be sharing how you can get gifts from Google. What? Doesn't that sound great? So I'm really excited to have Dotty with us. I'll bring her on in just a moment. But first, let me share a couple of quick Women's Prosperity Network announcements. The first would be, I want to say kudos to everyone who showed up for yesterday's Networking with a Twist. This is our monthly opportunity where you get to connect and collaborate, like really meet anywhere. I think we had about 80 people to all up that joined us for the networking events. And next step for you, follow up. Go ahead and build those relationships and build those connections. So we've got that. We've got on the fourth Saturday of the month, which is coming up, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, is our brilliance, brainstorming, and breakthroughs. And this is a mastermind session where you come together for 90 minutes dedicated to you and your business. Be sure to visit our website, womensprosperityNetwork.com. Check on the events tab for all the wonderful things we've got for you. And this Wow Wednesday, we're here every single Wednesday, as I mentioned before. And today, you are going to love what you learned from Dotty Scott, who is the owner of premium websites and also AskDotty.com. She is a web designer, a social media expert, speaker, and trainer in her 17th year of business. So, rewind 17 years as a web designer, social media, like she was doing this stuff before anybody else was. So when Dotty speaks, you want to listen. Every year, her business continues to grow and expand. She had 35% growth in 2020, which we all know that was a challenging year for most, but Dotty saw how she could be of service to people. 24% in 2021 and additional growth in 2022, which we haven't done the numbers for yet, but we will. She is an award-winning website designer who listens and creates customized websites rather than cookie cutter or generic websites. She always goes the extra mile. I can attest to that, and she's got your back. She loves to teach small business owners how to get from where they are to where they want to be and access the many, many tools that we have available to us, Google being one of them. Welcome, Dotty.
Thank you so much, Nancy. I am so happy to be here this morning.
I am happy that you're here too, and especially grateful that you chose to wake up super, super early to deliver this class for us today. So thank you. Quick question, and I don't know that if I asked you this one before. So 16 years in your current business, how is it that back in, what was that, 2006, I guess?
Yep.
Like my math is good this morning. You decided, you got yourself into websites. Like, that's an interesting path to choose. How did you get there?
Well, I have an artistic background. One of my hobbies is photography. You probably have guessed that.
Hey, look at her photos on Facebook. They are gorgeous.
Yes. So I wanted to work from home when my daughter was in first grade is when this all occurred. And I didn't want to be at the mercy of a network marketing company as far as, they want to quit, they want to sell, they want to change things, whatever it is. No offense to that industry. It's great, but I didn't want my only income to rely on that. So I taught myself a skill where I could work from home.
Wow, you taught yourself the skill.
I did. Yes.
Interesting. I'm thinking right now because I'm a little geeky, as you know.
Mhm.
So we get to geek out all the time, me and Dottie, which is great. And I think I'm self-taught too. Yeah,
Yeah. I actually read books, physical books,
musical books. Oh my goodness.
and participated in a couple tech forums
Mhm.
and grew from there.
Yeah, and one of the things that I love about you, as we've known each other for several years now, is you consistently are researching and staying ahead of the curve and see what's working. Like you were using, AI, artificial intelligence, before the whole world was talking about it.
I
Um,
was.
you
Yes.
today we're having a conversation about Google and getting gifts from Google. And, yeah, Google's a great search engine, and search engine optimization for websites. It's like, ooh, a big, big mystery, actually. And they change things all the time.
They do. Those dirty dogs.
And thankfully, we've got you who can attend those classes, do the research, find out what's going on. So let's jump in today and let's talk about these gifts from Google that we can get.
Yes.
So, how do we make Google work better for us to gain visibility for our businesses?
Oh, there is so much in that question.
I
I
know,
could go in 1,000 different ways.
right? It's a full day workshop right there.
That one question is yes. But so what I do in my business is I experiment with everything. And I've had some miserable fails, and I've had some, oh my gosh, wins. And then I always share my oh my gosh wins with my customers. But the last miserable fail I had put my website, so I generally organically am on Google between 1 and 4 for my main keywords. And the last time I failed, it put me all the way to page 10 and less.
Oh, wow.
So
So notice she just said she's usually between 1 and 4. So what that means, just for those who aren't familiar with how this works, is you go to Google and say, I'm looking for a website designer, and whatever term, in my city, who specializes, whatever that is.
mhm.
Dottie was consistently showing up between 1 and 4 when somebody searched for her type of business. And then there was a fail, an epic fail, or misstep, as we might call it. So go ahead.
So during that epic fail, you can imagine it took me a little while to dig out of that hole, but my phone didn't stop ringing, even though I was not anywhere to be found in the first 10 pages of Google. And anybody that uses any search engine knows you don't go past page 2.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So the reason for that is because I am consistently number 1 in Google Maps. So think about that. They're two completely different things. Organic search has to do with your website.
Mm-hmm.
Google Maps has to do with your Google business listing. So because I always show up number 1 there in my local city anyway, or region area, I was still getting phone calls because Google Maps shows up before organic listings in the search results.
Right. And I think on my computer, I get listings over here and the map is on the right-hand side. Sometimes it's a split screen as well. But the
Yes,
maps
on
does.
your desktop, that is true.
Okay.
But on mobile, it is the first thing that shows up, even before sponsored listings usually.
So this is big,
It is
so
big.
even though the search engine optimization wasn't in effect properly, because you had a Google My Business listing, it showed
That I maintain all weekly. I'm doing something to it weekly.
now I want that. That's the first thing I'm going to say. But let me tell you, my mind goes to, but I have a global business. I work from home and I don't have a brick and mortar store.
So do I. I could work anywhere.
So how do you do that?
It's magic. So here's some of the magic sauce.
Okay.
The very first thing is you want to make sure you have 10 reviews. Google does not look at you as a legitimate business until you have 10 reviews.
I'm taking notes, everybody. If you are not, now is the time.
Yeah. Once you have 10 reviews, you want to look at how many your competition has, your immediate competition. And you want more, whatever that number is. So, for example, for me, my immediate competition has somewhere between 25 and 30 reviews. There's like 4 of us here locally. And I have 58. So whatever the number is that your competition has, you want more. That's huge. That's the number one thing.
Okay.
The other things all kind of work together. So Google really allows us to have a really robust listing if we use everything that they allow us to use. And I suggest you use everything that is pertinent to your business. For example, if you sell products, like I know Laura's here and I know she's got those Zazzy Band products, you can list those products in your Google business account. If you are a service provider, you can put your services in your Google business account. You have the ability to upload short videos. If you are someone making videos, they're 30 seconds or less in Google.
Into Google Business?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. You have the ability to upload images. And I know you're all saying, I work from home. I don't want images of my house put up there, or I'm a service provider. What do I have to take pictures of? Here's what I put up there. Everything I put in social media. So if you're making little, graphics with sayings on them, they can go up there. If you're getting reviews anywhere online, do a little screenshot of them, put them up there. So there's lots of things that you can put up there, even when you're not a brick and mortar business. So that's important. I do that like once a week. And here's a good tip. My VA does that for me. Just saying.
So your VA goes through your social media, or maybe even does your social media, and part of the task for them is to also put it to your Google My Business account.
I have a shared Google folder, Google Drive folder with my VA, and anything I want in there, I just drop into that shared folder and she grabs them. So yes, my VA does that. And in Google, you can set them as a manager. So you're not giving your password out or anything like that. And when you part ways, you just delete their ability. So they even make it super easy to do that.
Yay, I am loving this.
And here's one more thing, Nancy. Did you know that you can put your blog posts in your Google business account?
No.
So again, my VA goes to my website, sees whatever I've posted recently, and once a week, she goes in there and she puts like the first couple of paragraphs, puts the image, and then links it to the post. So I'm gaining backlinks from Google, super important, to my website, and people can get information and jump over there and finish it. So you don't put the whole post, just put the first, paragraph or two.
On Google My Business with a link to your website blog.
Exactly. Yes.
Really good. Oh my goodness. And you can get your VA to do all of this.
Yes, because it's not hard.
Right. It's just you got to know to do it to keep that visibility.
Yes.
Donna posted a question. And just so you know, Donna, we're going to open up for some questions with Dottie probably in about another 15 minutes or so. But this is a question pressing on my mind. I don't have, a retail office, and I don't really want to put my home address on there. So how do you have a business listing when you work out of your home?
I too work out of my home. And there's two ways to do it. The first way is what I've chosen to do. And this was because the second way wasn't available when I opened my account. And I choose not to switch it because I've seen better results with people that put their address down. My address has been listed there for probably 18 years, roughly.
Is it your home address?
It is my home address. Okay. And in that period of time, I've had 2 people come by my house, but they were potential customers. So it really isn't an issue. If you're in the witness protection program or something, it might be an issue for you. But here's the thing: if you're
probably don't want to be on, you don't want to be on video if you're in witness protection anyway.
But if you're a business owner, you likely have your address out there already somewhere. If you've purchased a domain, your address is attached to that in a global wide database. If you didn't know that, it is. So that's the best way, is to just put your address there. But if you really do not want to do that, you can become what they call a service area, and you can say, don't list my address. I can tell you from watching a few clients do that, you will not show up in maps. Number 1, 2, 3, you just won't. I mean, you'll be there, people can find you, but it's not going to be in that number 1 or 2 spot.
Okay. So what about those mailbox places? Like, I do have a mailbox place that's a street address.
No. Google knows where those places are. I have that as well. And they don't take it. They don't take PO boxes, the UPS store boxes, any of that stuff. They will if you are in a shared working environment. I can't think of what they call those, where you rent an office or
like co-working spaces.
Yeah, a co-working space. They will take those addresses.
Okay. Yes, and I'm sure there's ways that you can get that if you really don't want your home address to show up on there. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's a lot about Google My Business. What other gifts can we get from Google?
So for me, a gift from Google means that you're getting business from a random phone call. It's not from a referral. It's just people you don't know. That is my definition of a gift from Google. And the way to get that is to have your reputation online be impeccable. You need to be listed, obviously, on the first page, but there's certain terms that you could Google, like premium websites, because yes, it's my business name, but it's also a search term. I will show up more than once. So I pretty much dominate that entire homepage or first page. So, it's those types of things. Now, how do I do that? Other things show up besides your website. So yes, you want your website to show up. You put so much effort into it. You love it. It's beautiful. All of this. I get calls where people never see my website. Because 1, they're calling from my Google business account.
Yeah.
But all of the online reviews that I get outside of Google, I mean, they're not the only place to get reviews. Those show up. Some of the videos I've done that are on YouTube, those show up in the actual Google results. Directory websites that I'm in show up. So all of these different pieces matter. And I wanted to just give you a thought process of what you can do to make this work for you. I want you to Google your competition, the ones that are always on the first page and you can't figure out why, those people. And search for their business name. So not your, like for me, instead of website designer near me, I would put Premium Websites LLC as an example. And I want you to note what websites show up for that particular business.
Mhm.
And then I want you to go out and get profiles in those websites. Most of them are free.
Get profiles in the websites that your competition is listed in.
Yes, because you know, evidentially, that those particular websites are working in your industry. So, for example, when people Google stuff around my industry, one of the ones that show up consistently is UpCity. I know you've heard me talk about UpCity, but in my industry, they are a big directory. They connect service providers with people looking for services. So, if you're a service provider industry, it's going to work for you. You can get a free profile there. Just fill it out. I mean, they have paid levels, but you don't have to have that. So yeah, figure out which directories and which review places are working for your industry, and then you go and establish yourself there.
So for example, as a professional speaker, I might look at some other speakers that I know and Google them and see what speaker directories they're listed in, because that comes up. Like I've had that happen where I've looked for information on a particular speaker and they were listed in, I can't think of any of the directory names, but they're listed in these other directories. So the suggestion is that we look at their keywords or their profile description and also have a profile on that directory.
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. And we're going to have lots of great questions. I see them being captured in the chat. I'll make sure that I bring them to Dotty live in a few minutes. So first of all, let's just recap. Gifts from Google means phone calls and clients that come out of the blue, that are out of the Google sky that we like to think about, right?
They just fall in your lap.
They do. We love that. We love that. So check your Google My Business account, get it up to date. And what I'm hearing that's really key is to update it on a consistent basis.
Use it.
And use it. So Dotty, I know that we only have a short amount of time today, and I presume you have ways for us to go deeper and continue this, right? You're going to let us know about that?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right, good. Because I have more things that I want to ask Dotty, just by the way. Everybody, clue, go to askdotty.com now. So first of all, your Google My Business account. Second is to look up your competition and see what directories they're listed in. So for example, I know most of the time, and this is interesting, and it'll, back upon what Laura Barker does related to LinkedIn. Oftentimes when I put somebody's name in that I'm looking for, LinkedIn comes up in the first or second. Their LinkedIn profile comes up first or second.
Very, very true. And LinkedIn, it is not something to be ignored. You must have a presence there.
Yeah. And it's a much better business profile that you want to show up on, because I'll see LinkedIn, Facebook, maybe Instagram, YouTube, those will show up when I put somebody's name in that has presence. Your LinkedIn profile, that's your business profile, just like Google My Business.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah, make sure you keep that listed. And then you'll see other directories. So LinkedIn is a directory. What other directories is your competition listed in? So we've got 2 big tips with lots of sub tips is what I'm hearing. And it doesn't have to be hard. I love that you said that you can get your VA to do this stuff for you. It's just a matter of getting it done.
Correct. Yes.
All right. More gifts from Google. How do we get more gifts from Google?
Consistency pays off. So just everything that you do online, literally everything you do online, links to your website. Your website needs to become the hub of your existence online. And it doesn't always have to be the homepage. Like when I said my VA grabs my blog posts and puts them into Google My Business, it is not the homepage she's linking to. It's the page where that blog post lives. And if you're doing a profile, you might not want to link to your homepage. You might want to link to your about page,
Right.
where
Or
they can learn more about you.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So all of those things matter. A few other things that matter actually on your website. I don't know if you think of content this way, Nancy, but think of it as a silo. So say that you have a service that you are trying to sell, and you've got like a whole bunch of this little aspects in this service. So just different things that you do or benefits that it gives you. Do a blog post on those individual little things. So, for example, I offer hosting for WordPress websites. So I've got blog posts that explain what is hosting. I have blog posts that explain the difference between shared hosting and, managed WordPress hosting. Just different aspects. I've got blog posts on like the security and why you want security for your website, all those kinds of things. But each time I create a blog post, I am linking it up to whatever service or product that blog post is supporting.
Okay. So let me see if I understand. So you write a blog post, and in that blog post, do you include the link to the product or service? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Sometimes it's a button. Sometimes it's just a text link. But what this is doing, two things. If it's a button and it's really obvious, then it's for the person reading that blog post to say, oh, I need that. Here's how I get it. Click. And it goes to the correct page.
Nice and easy.
The other thing it does is that search engines, they rate your pages on how many links are going to that. And it doesn't matter if it's an outside link coming in or if it's an internal link from your website going to that page. If you've got a page with 100 links going to it, and you've got another service page with 1 or 2, the one with 100 links is going to outrank the 1 or 2.
So I'm a little confused, and this might be a little techie and geeky. I've heard that outbound links from your website aren't good, and so I'm a little.
These aren't outbound links though, because they're not taking you from your website to another website. Okay. They're taking someone from a page on your website to where they can buy a service or a product that's going to help solve whatever issue they initially Googled to find that page.
It's another page within my website.
Yes.
Got it. What if, and I'm going to get a little techie and then we're going to open up for questions. What if I have 3 different websites and I cross-sell things? And I know other people do this. Like you have 2 websites, you have premium websites and you have Ask Dotty. How do you manage this, and is there an impact?
So for me, I really don't cross-sell. I mean, I've got a link on premium or on Ask Dotty that says if you want a website, go here, and it goes to my premium websites. But for this conversation, if it's hosting, so here's how I do it. Here's how I would explain to do it. Whatever services I have on premium websites, I do blog posts that support those services on premium websites. Whatever services I have on Ask Dotty, I do blog posts that support those services on Ask Dotty. And occasionally there'll be some cross-referencing, but not too often for me.
Okay, so it's mostly just keeping people on your website, leading them to the things. And this is part of what we want to do as business owners, is lead people to the solutions that you have available, which is also leading to providing solutions, provide sales. So that's the way to go ahead and do it.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well, I have so many questions. We'll probably need to do some one-on-one, my friend. And how do we, we're only scratching the tip of the iceberg here. So tell us how we can continue in this path to continuously get more gifts from Google, which means clients, customers, people who didn't know you, that you didn't actually have to go networking to get. They're just, because there's websites that you're building. Like, let's face it. And I know one of the reasons you do this, Dotty, is it really, breaks your heart and irks you when people do all of this effort and spend all this money to create a beautiful website, and then they're not getting any business from it. Like, this is the problem she's solving, people.
Yes, it is. Well, I do have my Ask Dotty membership. And I will say, if you are interested in going deeper into this concept of siloing your content, my next masterclass, which is at the last day of this month, the 31st, is going to be on this topic of you creating content that's going to help drive traffic and increase your sales and all of that stuff. So there's that. I am offering a bundle of 3 past masterclasses for people that are not Ask Dotty members, because they're not available other than if you're an Ask Dotty member generally. I put 3 of them together and I added it to my website. So you can go to askdotty.com. At the top, there's a button that says Gifts from Google. And they are 3 classes. One is about repurposing content. One is a class about creating content and tools that you can use and assets that you can use that it doesn't even need to be your content. So it goes into that. And the other one, it just blanked on me what it was. Do you have it in front of you, Nancy? What is the other one?
I can get there. I was just putting the link in the chat.
Oh, it's on local search. So it goes deeper into this whole concept of Google My Business and everything that I reviewed there.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So what you're going to do, just so I can be clear for everybody, is go to askdotty.com, and right at the top, you'll see the button that says Gifts from Google. And that's where you're going to get these 3 master classes for just $27. And I mean, I would believe most of you, the value of a client is more than $27. So
I hope so. If not, we need to talk.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We totally need to talk. And I want you all to think about this. However much money you spent putting that website together, if you're not getting clients from your website or having whatever your online presence is, whether it's in directories, profiles, all of that, this for $27, let's put all of this into play so that you're getting a return on the investments you've already made. Like, that's what we're talking about here.
And it works no matter what platform you're on. So, I'm a WordPress geek, but I know there's people out here that have Kartra and they have all these just different places. These concepts work no matter what platform you have. And to be honest with you, a lot of that works whether you have a website or not.
Right, because you're doing repurposing of content, Google My Business. None of those require getting listed in other directories. I don't need a website for any of that stuff.
Yeah, you don't need a website for any of it. It obviously works better when you have one.
Yes.
But if you are a startup and you're crunched for money, you don't necessarily need to go spend and get your website done first. Let's get a presence built and add that to it later.
So I love the way you think. It's so good. All right. Go to askdotty.com. Click the link right in the header there that says Gifts from Google, and grab your $27 package that's going to get this moving. And I would say also, if you've got a VA, have them do this with you, for you. It doesn't have to be you. Remember, as business owners, we don't have to do everything. We drive the ship.
Yeah. And if you are already an Ask Dotty member, you already have access to these videos. Just saying.
Oh, all right. So if they're already a member, they don't need to purchase
Correct.
it in their back office. Okay. And when is your next live? Well, so tell us, how much is the Ask Dotty membership? We're talking about it. Might as well.
The Ask Dotty membership is $39 a month. And you get a weekly creative time class that's an hour long, and you can ask any question you want and we answer it, or just get feedback on something you're working on.
Every week?
Every week, every Wednesday.
Wow.
And then once a month, I have a master class that you can attend. And everything is recorded and stored in the back office. There's 3 courses on there. As a member, you have access to everything.
Wow. Wow. I'm just saying $39, might want to just go for the membership, because I could use that weekly creative time to actually put into practice all the things you're telling us about.
Exactly. And when you have questions, you just ask.
I love it. I love it. So good. Yeah, because that happens to me sometimes. I sit down to do something and then I get stuck because I'm not sure. Oh, but what about this? How should I phrase this? Or where should I put this link? So if I do those during creative time, I like it. $39.
And creative time is collaborative. I have a lot of times someone will come in with, I just want feedback on this particular social media post I'm going to put out, or graphic I'm creating for my business. And the group will give them feedback. So it's not just me, it's the knowledge of everybody in the group. A lot of times someone will come with a LinkedIn question and Laura just happens to be there. She is the LinkedIn queen. And so she can answer that question, so it's a great thing. I get a lot out of it.
Really good. Really good. All right, let's go ahead. I'm going to start to take some of our questions. So if you're with us on your computer, you can unmute yourself and then raise your hand. That'll help me keep track of everybody. If you're on your phone, you would simply unmute yourself when you're ready to talk. I have everybody's got permission to do so. And while everybody's coming in the queue for their questions, Rose asks, can you list the street and the city, but not the number in your Google My Business?
No. When you are a service area, they require that you put your entire address in, and you check a little box that says you don't want it published, and then they will publish your city and state, I believe, only. But you have to actually put it all in.
But doing so by clicking the box not to show my address diminishes how you show up. It
diminishes the results, because a lot of people will do like a near me search. You're not going to show up in those because they don't really know where you're near, if you think of it logically. So yes, I don't encourage it. I really encourage you to put your address in there. Now they do have, COVID was really great because it forced Google to put in things like online appointments only. So you can say that, and then people know she doesn't have an office where I can go for an appointment. They're all online. So that's what mine says, is online appointments only.
Excellent. Excellent. And again, you've had your Google My Business account for almost 18 years. And during the 18 years, only 2 people ever came to your door.
Correct.
Like, so what are we talking about here, people?
And none of those had a gun, I will say.
Right. I'm just saying, like, sometimes we worry about things that we don't need to be worrying about. I get it. All right. Good stuff. So Laura Barker put a couple of questions in the chat. If you would like to open up and ask them live, you can, Miss Barker. Otherwise, I will speak them for you.
I would love to. Can you hear me? Hi, Dotty. Hey, Nancy.
Hi, Laura.
Oh, my goodness. I do have a lot of questions, and I'll ask a lot of them during creative time rather than take up all of your time today. But one of the things that really struck me as you were talking was this idea of looking at your competition to see how many reviews they have, right? So is that, and for you, I think you were defining it as kind of local competition, right?
I was, yes.
So how would somebody like myself define competition? Because, for example, there's a LinkedIn trainer who makes literally like $3.5 million a year, and I went ahead and Googled him, and I don't even know, I couldn't even find how many reviews he had. That was just ridiculous. Like, so how would I gauge like where I need to be?
Google your main keywords and see who shows up.
Okay.
And if you are a local business, put in your location. If you are not a local business, like Laura, you can work anywhere. Nancy, you can work anywhere. Just leave the location off, but put your main keywords in there and see who shows up. Those are your competition, whether you know them or not.
Okay, that is really, really helpful. And then also one other question, and then I'll let other people ask. But you mentioned that two things. You mentioned that other reviews will show up on Google. Do you mean like if I got a review on YouTube, that's going to show up on Google?
So what I said is there's other places to get reviews outside of Google.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
for example.
Yeah, like Yelp, for example. We won't go into why Dotty doesn't use Yelp, but there's a lot of different review places. For me, I have, I think, 60 of them on UpCity. So UpCity for my industry is awesome. And I do have a paid account there, but the review portions of that show up. I have reviews that are on video from various clients over the years. Those show up when someone is looking for like reviews for premium websites. And I do happen to know, because I asked, when a gift from Google comes to me, I ask them, what did they type in to find me? And then I ask them, why did they call me? Because those answers tell me they found my website by whatever the keyword is, and I note that because I want to make sure I'm optimizing for the right keywords. And when they say, I watched your reviews, and they use the word watched, I know that they're looking at the videos that are showing up in Google. So
Okay, so
you will get a lot of information by asking.
Wow. Okay, and this, I do have just one more question. I promise I'm done. Do you put your blog posts on Google Business page as well?
Yes.
Okay.
I put my blog posts in 5 or 6 different places on the internet.
Fantastic. Dotty, and let me just say to the people listening, guys, if you haven't figured this out yet, Dotty is your resource for all things computer, internet, tech. She's a genius. And I have been a member of Ask Dotty from the very beginning. I will never not be a member of Ask Dotty. The value is insane, Dotty. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all that you do, because you are so giving and so helpful.
Thank you, Laura, and you are so welcome.
Amazing. This community of Women's Prosperity Network is filled with extraordinary, generous, and brilliant business women. And I'm just going to say this, if for some reason you are not a member, like jump in. Laura Barker, Dotty Scott. We met Dotty because of Deborah Morrison. Like, you want to be in the company of the people that are advancing and moving forward. Like we are, as Deborah Morrison would say, we can do it, women. We can do it. Yes, we can. So it's very fun. I'm going to ask a question that I also saw in the chat that relates to blogging. And then LaDonna, I think you had a question about blogging as well. So I'll call on you in a moment. With blogging, is it detrimental to write a blog and put an outbound link to somebody else's site? So for example, let's say somebody, let's say I wanted to give you props on my website and there's a link out to your website on mine. What do you,
That is fine. So here's kind of the rule of thumb I have. When I do a blog post, they're usually around 1,000 words. I generally do not link out, I usually link internally to someplace on my website. But within that 1,000 words, if there's something that the reader would find super useful and it's not going to my competition, I will link to that. For example, a lot of times I link to a Wikipedia page on if they want more information on what is search engine optimization. I might link to a Wikipedia page on search engine optimization, just as an example. So you can link out. Make sure that when you do, that you set that link to open in a new tab or a new window so that they don't lose your website. But yes, I keep that at a bare minimum. So just, that's what I do.
Okay. Thank you for that. LaDonna, did you want to ask a question? And then I also see Michelle Maddox may have a question. So LaDonna, you have a question for Dotty? It is Dotty.
I have two questions for Dotty. Dotty, I am always in a challenge with Google. They keep taking me down and asking for things, documentation, and I send it because they say I'm not a brick and mortar. I'm not a brick and mortar. But then they come back and say, but do you service customers out of your home? I do have a few customers that pick up things here. So then I'm still in the guidelines. Yeah. But they come here and I guess, or somehow they figure out this is a home, not. So now I'm to where they took me down again and I have to go to the courthouse and have my papers notarized from the courthouse where I'm a registered business at this address. Is this a battle that I'm going to continue to have with them? Because every time I go down, I do see a difference in my customer load.
Yes. I don't think so. You are the first person that has ever said anything like this to me. I will say that Google has opened up, and you'll have to just Google this because I don't have the information at my fingertips, but you can pay, I want to say it's $40, I think, for an hour of time with somebody that actually works at Google. And it might be worth it to you to find out what is actually going on, because like I'm just like you. I worked from my home from the very beginning. I've worked from my home and I've never had these issues. It's almost like there's something else triggering it and we need to get to the root of the problem.
I think so too, because I've been in business 18 plus years and have never had this challenge until like the last year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Google that phone number, and actually it's an appointment link, and you pay for the appointment and set it up. They have it all automated. So yes, perfect. I would do that for you.
That's a great idea.
Okay, great. And then, I'm a dunce when it comes to blogging. I've heard about it. I hear people all the time about it. So do I have to set up a special page to start blogging? Because blogging in my mind is information that might be good for someone else. But so are my posts on Facebook and LinkedIn and wherever I'm posting.
Yes. So there's two different goals with social posting and blogging. And they could even be the same topics and have two different goals. But as far as blogging goes, you want it to be ideally on your website if you're in a platform that allows you to do that. If you are not in a platform that allows you to blog on your website, I encourage you to go to wordpress.com and open up a free account and do your blogging there. Just make sure everything links to your actual website. But ideally, it would be part of your website and it becomes part of your content silo that supports what it is that you're selling.
Okay, so I do have a WordPress website and I love it. So do I just create a new page and for blogging?
They're in WordPress, they're called posts. And it's just a matter of probably activating your blog. So that's something I can help you with if you want to call me offline.
Okay. And then can I take that blog and connect it to my other website that's not WordPress, a link? If it's something.
You can link to anything.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Thank you so much, Dotty. Thank you.
You're welcome.
She's amazing, isn't she, LaDonna?
She is. She is. Thank you.
Yeah, so reach out to Dottie. I highly recommend for LaDonna as well as everyone here. Join the membership. If you don't want to do the membership, fine. Get the bundle for $27, and all of this is available to you at Ask Dotty, Dotty, AskDotty.com. And Dottie's email is Dotty@AskDotty.com. You keep it easy for us, don't you?
I try to, yes.
I love it. I love it. And the fabulous Laura Barker went and got the link for that support appointment with Google. Like, yeah.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Laura. Yay. Thank you.
Yep. Oh, it's in the chat. And if you're with us on Facebook, you can just go ahead and Google it because she probably did that. Support from Google would be where I would go. Let's go to Michelle Maddox next.
Hi there. How you doing?
So good.
I'm a newbie to all of this. I'm like, my eyes are rolling back in my head because I've never even been aware that all of this is necessary. I thought you just
think about it as available as opposed to necessary. It'll have a better energy.
Okay. Well, that helps. The idea of a brick and mortar address, what about omitting your apartment number, but providing everything else?
You can do that.
That's acceptable as sufficient?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As long as because if they want to mail you a confirmation code, you have to be able to get the mail. So if your mail person is smart enough to know that you live, that you're getting mail here and you've been here a while and this is your box, go for it.
Oh, okay. All right. And then Google business page. I never heard of that. What does that mean? Google business? I don't even know what you're.
So it's your profile on Google. And I would get the $27 package or the Ask Dotty membership. I've got actually a whole course on how to set up your Google My Business account within Ask Dotty. So those resources are there for you. And Michelle, I wanted to comment on what you said about the necessary, and Nancy, you're available. I've been doing this for 18 years. Everything you do online builds on itself. I did not go out and do this in one day. And I picked one thing at a time. So when I discovered UpCity, I spent some time on building that out. And I didn't do anything else at that time. And then it stays there. So then I go on to a next thing. So I don't do all of this at once, ever. It's too overwhelming. Yeah. So I don't want you to think like you have to run out today and do everything. But I just want you to be aware of steps I've taken to get where I'm at so that you can follow in those footsteps.
Thanks, doctor.
That was good, right?
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Michelle, anything else for you today?
I'll stop there, but I'm very grateful to be aware that this is available and that these are strategies I can employ if I start simple and just break down to one step at a time. Yeah, this is doable, and I will go and I'll get your package and learn more. This is brand new information for me. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Dr. Roz, I like it. She says, Dr. Dotty, driving results. That's so good.
And yes, Laura, creative time is today at 8:00 Pacific time.
8 Pacific, 5.
11.
I'm so confused.
11 Eastern. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
11 Eastern is AM, and so it's 8 AM. I thought you were talking AM. Okay.
Yes. Once I'm done with this, I have an hour to eat breakfast, and then I'll be on creative time.
Okay, beautiful. That's a great time to do it. I love it. I love it. All right. Again, go to askdotty.com, grab your gifts from Google Bundle for $27 or for just an extra $12. Get the membership, and come to Creative Time weekly, get that masterclass weekly, plus the gifts from Google and the entire library that of courses that Dotty has already created, so that you can do one thing at a time. Don't want you to feel like you have to do it all at once, and having Dotty to guide you along the way is fantastic. Laura Barker is back for another comment, so let me have you open up, Laura, and then you can close us out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So the reason I put in the chat that, hey, don't we have creative time today? Because folks, listen, if you've been listening, right, we already know how much value Dotty brings. So even if you don't have a question, become a member and come to creative time. I'll see you there. Dotty will be there. A whole community will be there. Your questions will get answered. You will learn so much. It's just such a great experience. So I just wanted to throw that in so people understood if they had time today, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Super good. Thank you, Dotty.
You are welcome.
Thank you, Laura. It's so good. All right. We are at the top of the hour. I want to say thank you to Dotty for sharing not only your brilliance, but I love how you take this very complicated, convoluted online business building area and make it easy for us to understand and then implement step by step. So thank you for being you in all of
You're welcome, Nancy.
I appreciate you. And to everyone out there joining us, be sure to go to askdotty.com. Go ahead and jump in, and we will see you again next week for another Wow Wednesday. Have a great day, everyone. Bye, Dotty. Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.